Oh, hi. Welcome to my new home library. So, I just moved out of my very small 300 square foot apartment a couple weeks ago. Honestly, I still can't believe that I found this space because it just genuinely matches the exact description of what I like only dreamed about having or living in. So, even though it's 2 a.m. right now, I just couldn't get myself to wait another day to just see everything come together. It's been like this where it's just piles of books and you can't really tell what the titles are. That's not sustainable for me, and I haven't read since I moved. And to me, that's kind of weird. I don't really have other hobbies aside from art and reading, so this has to change today. So even though everything isn't completely done, like I said, I just moved in, I am very open to some decor suggestions because it's still kind of blank. Okay, so I took a second to figure out how I'm going to organize all these shelves because there are plenty of ways to do it, and I've taken some inspiration from other YouTubers and Pinterest, and I think I'm going to go a different direction this time just because of the amount of shelves that I have versus how many books I have right now, which is a lot, but not a lot for the amount of space that I now have. So I decided to kind of go with the bookstore style. So a lot of the spines facing out and then a lot of the covers facing. So that way we just take up as much space as possible. I don't know if it's controversial in the book community or not. It's not a big deal, but I'm not going to be organizing by author or genre or any really system at all. Just because I know myself and the way that I read books, I tend to take out piles at a time and just kind of use them as reference. So for me, it'd be kind of unsustainable to keep it organized like a library. And I think it would look cuter anyway, organized like a little bookstore. I give credit to Jack Edwards because I recently saw his video from a couple years ago where he organized his space for fun as a bookstore. And I think I want to do it like literally. I think I'm going to keep it that way. I just realized I didn't quite show you all the shelves yet. I do have these two smaller shelves in the corner over here that I did start customizing a little bit and adding some art books and just larger books that are more for display, more than anything. But if you would like to skip to the organization part of the video, you could click the timestamp right here or down below. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun to show you a mini tour of the rest of my apartment before we get to the organization part. Also, it might just be my way of putting it off for a little bit because this is kind of a daunting project. So I'm going to think over a little bit of how I'm going to organize it because I think even with my plan, I still don't have quite enough books to fill it up. So I might bring down some other trinkets to fill in the space, but we'll see. Quand j'étais petite, je me taisais comme une fleur. So since I have these shelves that are pretty much completely separate from this section, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what I decided is doing more of an art book section and then also adding in some of my personal art. So starting up here, we have two display books, one of them on Harold Lloyd, which I did recently do a video about, and then this book on chess. Down here, I have a couple of more art books and some playing cards and these candles, which I know you guys still comment are real and you freak out when I have them on top of piles of books since you think they're going to burn, but they are completely plastic. But I'm glad they look very realistic. And then on this section, I have three more art books. So we have Degas, Edward Munch, and then this book I got from the Art Institute of Chicago, which is where I went to college. So I kind of ran out of what to put down here. I might change it up, but for now it's holding all of my coloring books that I made. It came out last year. You actually still could get it on my website, which I will link right up here, also in the description if you're interested. But yeah, I still have some inventory left, so I just leave that down here. And then up here I have some canvases that are just ready to go. This is more for display. I learned piano by muscle memory completely, so I honestly cannot tell you what a single note on this paper says, but it does look pretty. And then over here, I have some more packaging supplies when people buy prints and stickers from my shop. So I have that. And then up here, I have a couple of copies of the most recent New Yorker, a couple of movies, and then my favorite pigeon from the best children's book ever made. I think he really completes the whole look. This is my favorite, my baby. Up here, I just have my little art section. So these are some of my favorite art books. This is a hat that I was asked to design last year for the Windy City Bulls, which was really fun because it's actually the first time that I ever went to a basketball game. So to say my first game, you know, they handed these out to everybody in the crowd was really, really fun. And then here I have a guest book for my first solo show. The owner of the gallery actually had this done for me in secret. So as I had guests come in, they would go to the back room, I'm guessing. I didn't see it happen, but they would write a little note for me and what they thought about the show. I always find myself coming back to it just when I need some inspiration in my art or I'm feeling like I need a little bit more of a boost. And it always just brings me back to wanting to create after a long time of just kind of putting it off. I also have this bag that I designed for Dark Matter Coffee, which is a local, very well known Chicago chain of coffee shops, and they also make their own coffee grounds. So they also came out with a can. So I have this design on like a cold can of coffee, which you could find very shortly at grocery stores. So this was a really fun collaboration to do. Up here, I have my little section of more art books and self help. I don't really read a lot of self help, and I'm really picky with the ones that I do get because I find that a lot of the wording in them is very similar, and I really like to focus on books that have something unique to say. So the ones I do have, they do mean a lot to me. So I have this book, The Artist's Way, which I did actually complete. I give a lot of credit to it and where I'm at with art because of this book. And then up here, I don't know if this is just an Illinois thing or it might just be all over America. I haven't checked, but I usually find these at Walgreens or local bookstores. This one's on Berwyn, which is the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I have a couple of other ones right here. And then lastly, up here, I was gifted this from a group of high school students that I worked with in collaboration with the Chicago Bulls, just as a thank you for working with them on an art project recently. They designed the whole thing and they had their names engraved on all the edges. So obviously, I really wanted to have that prominently displayed with the rest of this. I also have my dining table here, which has definitely been through it. I don't know if the camera's catching it, but it does have a good amount of scratches and marks that I just have to figure out how to fix. So if anyone knows how to go about restoring wood easily, please, I would really appreciate you letting me know. But honestly, I just love finding unique pieces, and this one just really stood out to me when I was looking for some furniture off Facebook Marketplace. And this built in chessport is really what made me get it. Down here, I have my little guitar collection. I have my Ibanez electric acoustic, the Squire electric guitar from Fender, and then this little Mitchell one, which is another electric one. It's definitely my go to. And then in between these three, I have these two gorgeous contributions to the collection on my husband's part, apparently. One is a Fender, I think. I think they're Rock Band, Guitar Hero. I'm not really sure to be honest, but they do fit in well enough. So if you're just kind of looking past it, you can't really tell that they're not real guitars, right? Yeah. Here I have my little Juliet balcony from my bedroom looking down into the main room. I'm really considering putting up some dramatic red velvet curtains on either side and making it look like a theater stage. Forthcoming on that because obviously it's not a priority, but it would be really fun. By the way, are these balconies rare or is it just me? Because the only other time that I've seen a Juliet balcony was when I was on family vacation when I was 12 and we went to, I'm pretty sure it was Ramada Inn in Florida, and we didn't have any windows once we got into the hotel room, and we figured, bummer, kind of weird. I don't really like spaces when they don't have direct sunlight. It's just kind of creepy. But it gets creepier. It does have something that looks like it would have been a window with a balcony that looks just like the one that I have right now. But instead, when you open it, you're not looking outside, but everyone looks inward to the middle part of the building where it's just straight down and there's an indoor pool, which is obviously real creepy because it's families, it's kids. You look up and you see everybody around you in the other hotel rooms on your floor, on the floor above you, on the floor below. Everyone has that same balcony and they all have that view. We didn't stay there. And the weirdest thing is that there were no reviews about it. No one commented. No one said that it was odd. If you could find this place, let me know. I've been meaning to just look at photos of it again because I just couldn't believe how weird that they designed the place itself. Like who approved the format, the layout of it is so weird. On a happier note though, if you have any ideas of what I can do in the space to make it look cool from down here, please let me know. And then here we have my little fireplace, which is original to the building, but unfortunately it's not in working order, at least to be used safely. So I'm still thinking of how to make it like a fake fireplace on the inside, but for now I just have my acrylic paints down here, which if you're an artist yourself, big tip, I actually use paint samples from Home Depot pretty much exclusively for all my paintings. It just saves a lot of money, and you could get any specific shade of color that you could think of. That brings me over to the easel that I finally was able to get after many years of putting the canvas on the floor and painting with my back completely probably destroyed from that. So I'm really happy to finally have an actual professional way to paint. This is a painting that I worked on last year for my solo exhibition. Most of them did sell out, but this is one of the ones that are still left. You could find any of my paintings available on my website. I'll have that linked over and also in the description. And then over here, I have the most practically placed mirror, which I could definitely see myself in with no issue. And then down here, I just have some miscellaneous painting and art supplies. Over here, I have my scanner for my books. So every time I get a new book and I want to make sure that, if I'm out and about and I can't remember whether or not I have a certain copy of something, I could just go on Libib, which is the app that I use to track all my books, and see if I have it in my personal inventory, which has been super, super helpful. And then over here, I just have a bunch of sticky tabs and bookmarks. If you guys use these, have you found it helpful? Because as of now, I feel like I have so many because I've seen like the trend on TikTok to use sticky tabs, and I just can't get into it for the life of me, even though it looks very, very nice and aesthetically pleasing to see all the books stacked with them. But I don't think it's for me. I do annotate. I do find myself highlighting a lot and using pens to write in notes, but something about the tabs just really distracts me from the reading experience. And then going back over here, I have these two toys, which I actually just released with UVD Toys, who make resin and vinyl toys with artists. So my original character got turned into a toy which is now available on their website, which is super, super fun. It's crazy to see, something that I've painted for years just become like a 3D model, something in real life. So I just have them displayed up here. And then I have some incense up here, a candle, and then two of my favorite notebooks with just like the best covers that I just like to display and just like write my to-do list on. And then lastly, just because I feel like we must find comedy in the inconveniences of life, I'm thinking about getting Renee Magritte's Time Transfixed printed and just like having it above the fireplace instead of the painting that I have right now. As much as I like my personal art, I do want to have art of, the greats as well. And it's just irony because both of them are void of a fire in their fireplace. And then lastly, we have this vintage style chandelier with some cute little flickering lights at the top if the camera's picking it up. It's easily my favorite part of the room. I feel like it really ties in the architecture style of it. And then over here, I have this couch that my mom got me that I'm honestly just very grateful to have because couches cost a fortune. And I feel like aside from mattresses, it's probably best not to get them secondhand. And then down here is my area rug that really helps cozy up the room, and I just love the detail and the color palette of it. So a lot of the design choices that I made for this room were heavily inspired by the drawing room at the Chicago Athletic Association. And if you haven't been there, I highly, highly recommend that you do. I could spend honestly every second of every day there if I could. It's just so cozy in there, and I feel like I could always focus and get my work done and just feel like I'm in a completely different state of mind. So I wanted to bring that dark wood tone and just like coziness home. So when I found this table over here, I knew that it had to come home with me. And it's another really unique piece too. It has these trays that come right off, which makes it really easy for serving and hosting. And then on the hosting note, I actually have a couple of these floor mats to just make some extra cozy seating, which I also got for the reason that I'm hosting a book club real soon. And I want to make sure I have space for everybody. So if you're in Chicago and if you want to sign up for a wait list on it, you can email me. Email's going to be right down here, also in the description. I have more information about that soon, but I'm really excited about it now that I have more space to be hosting larger events. Anyways, I think that I've exhausted my ability to speak about every single item in my apartment. So we're just going to cut back to organizing my shelves. It's now 4 in the morning or real close to it. So let's try to see if we can get this done today. If not, I might cut to tomorrow, but I'm just going to try to get it done right now. J'adore mon poisson rouge. Okay, so I think what I'm going to start doing is just sorting out my favorite books and the ones that I know I'm going to read soon, and just kind of like have those be the ones that are front facing, which hopefully I could try to make about half of them like that so that it stretches as much space as possible. So I'm just going to start making piles and just dividing the pretty books from the not so pretty books, even though realistically to me, all the books are very pretty because I keep only my favorites. So it's going to be really hard to decide, but some of them will be featured more prominently than others.
J'aime mon jardin de roses, l'odeur me rend heureuse. C'est le silence qui me parle, comme si c'était Charles. Quand on fait l'amour, il n'y a pas de discours.
Okay, so far it's looking like I'm actually gonna be able to pull it off. I have about half of the books, if not maybe a little bit less, already displayed on the shelves. I really like how it's looking so far, head on, but if you get closer to the books, I kind of don't like those little gaps that you could see behind the books, but it's just like one of those nitpicky things. From afar, if you're looking at it head on, it does look pretty nice. And I think that even though it's a little bit more overboard than the average bookstore in terms of like how many books are facing the front instead of the spine, I think it still works. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just fill up the rest of the shelves, and then I will see you soon, hopefully when most of these are finished.
Quand on fait l'amour, il n'y a pas de discours. Quand on fait l'amour. Hélas, la vie passe vite, sans qu'on s'en perçoive. Je dépasse les limites, mais je ne parle toujours pas.
Alright, so here is the grand reveal of everything. I'm honestly just really shocked at how much space I was able to fill with what I have. I used every single book that I could find, and granted, all of these have mainly spines and covers, pretty much 50-50, but for now, it looks presentable. And over the years, obviously, I'll go ahead and start flipping over the covers and just making more space as I get more books. But this way, I feel like I don't have to rush and I don't have to, overspend, overbuy on things that I don't necessarily need. But I also decided to just keep it at eye level. So instead of filling complete shelves, I just kind of made it like easy access so I don't have to get a ladder every time when I get a book. But yeah, I feel like I'm really happy with how it looks, honestly. It does really give me bookstore vibes, which is what I was going for.
Je préfère les rites qui contiennent que des gestes.
Alright, so I think I'm going to end this video here. I have a feeling that at this point I'm not really making sense with what I'm saying. It's close to 5 in the morning and I'm very, very tired and I'm going to sleep right after I'm done with this video. But I am really happy that I was able to just do this today because that means that next week I could focus more on making videos about the books that I love and start recommending more of what I've been reading so far. So I'll see you guys very soon. And good night. I'm going straight to bed. Bye.